What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I am going to make myself a pot of chili, and most of my chilies, people ask me, well, what's your recipe? Well, I do a lot of different ones, and it's basically what do I have in the freezer and stuff like that, and there's different ways of seasoning. So this is kind of like a Denver Red, which is what they call these. Now, these are like poblanos, Angio pepper poblanos, or you can get poblanos, or you can get the Angio peppers that are dried. And what we do with this is we're going to actually rehydrate these. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to put a couple of chili peppers in here as well, because I want this to be spicy. These are dried up as well. And I'm going to put a couple of cloves of garlic. And I've got some water that's heating up right now. And we're basically going to just put this in with hot water over top of it and let it rest for about a half hour. And then what we'll do is we'll pull out the peppers, we'll take out the stems, we'll take out the seeds, and we'll end up putting it into the processor. I put a little bit of olive oil into it, I'll put a little bit of salt into it and things. And this will make a chili paste that will truly make your chili really, really red. The other thing I was doing, it was kind of funny because I was going to get some stew meat because I like steak in my chili. And looking at the stew meat was like $9.50 a pound. And they had ribeyes on sale for $8.99 a pound. So I actually bought a bunch of ribeyes, and I ended up cutting that up because it'll be more tender. It's a better cut, of course, than your typical stew meat. Your typical stew meat will end up being like eye rounds, it'll be chuck roast and things like that, which is fine if you're going to cook it down for a long time. But with this ribeye steak, it's just going to have that much more of a flavor to it, and it won't take as long for it to get tender. So I've actually taken this, I put a little Worcestershire sauce on here, I put a little bit of my chipotle chili powder on here, put some fresh peppers, some cumin on here, and garlic salt. And I'm going to let that sit for a bit. And before I go ahead, I'm going to brown that in a frying pan I'm going to put some flour on it. So this way, when we go through, we'll brown it and everything else right there. We'll put some liquid into it. In fact, I use the liquid from my mom's tomatoes to basically pull those flavors that have caramelized off of the pan, and also makes it easier to clean. And that'll go in. I also like to use just regular ground beef. And the reason I cook the steak separate from it is this will have a different flavor to it. Now this right here, this red paste will give you an unbelievable taste, and it will make it a bright red color. So as soon as my water is hot here, boiling, which is getting close, I'll pour that on it, and then I'll come back in about a half an hour, put that in the food processor, and I'll start the process of actually making my chili. I'll put ground beef in there. I also like Italian sausage. Sounds kind of crazy, but it gives it a great taste. Because what you really want to have is a flavor explosion. So you have all of these different tastes. You got the texture, of course, of the steak. You got the ground beef in there. You've got the flavor of the Italian sausage. You've got that great chili flavor that's in there. And to go ahead and get some crackers, or to do this like a taco salad, which, oh, I love taco salad, and blue cheese dressing with it. If I do a salad, put blue cheese dressing, top it with some chili, some raw onions on there, some cheese, and some sauerkraut. It is a fantastic meal. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and do tonight, is that taco salad. So definitely, our water's almost hot here, and we'll pour that on, and we'll come back and get started on this. All right, so we're going to get started making our chili right now. We've got our peppers and things are currently sitting in the hot water. We're going to go ahead and get the peppers and onions and stuff cooking right now. Put a little bit of olive oil in first. What I like to do is I like to saute the onions and the peppers first, and then I add my ground beef to it. This way, these get really nice and well softened, and then we add the beef to it, and then we can drain out the fat out of it, and you'll have those flavors. And then I end up taking and cooking in a frying pan the steak that I have in here. And you see That's been marinating. We're going to put a little bit of flour on that, and then we'll of course add our liquids, our tomatoes and the tomato juice from my mom, and we'll end up adding some rotel, because I love rotel. Rotel is great because it's chopped up peppers and onions and all that stuff in there. You can actually make a really good salsa just by using the rotel, and then I put fresh onions into it and some cilantro, and it will be actually really, really good. Add a little bit of lime juice to it, a little bit of chipotle chili powder, and that gives you the base. Real simple, real easy, and definitely tasty salsa that you can have. So you see we've chopped up our peppers here real good. Actually, I put 2 onions in here because I love onions. And I even like to have raw onions with my chili, because that's just great flavor to it. It'll cook a little bit, just soften it up some. Of course, you want to use sweet vanilla onions or white onions because they're not bitter. And I've got a couple of cloves of garlic here that will do as well. So the pan's getting good and hot. Get those in there. I'll get a couple of jalapeno peppers. We'll chop those up and add that in there as well. And we're looking for great, great flavor with this. I do a lot of experimenting with flavors. Generally speaking, for me, you're always going to almost find either cilantro, garlic, rosemary, thyme, or chipotle chili powder in almost anything that I cook, and jalapeno peppers. Those are kind of like my staple signature ingredients that I can make just about anything with. The chipotle chili powder gives you kind of an earthy, southwesterny taste that's really, really good. And it's got a little bit of a kick to it, not a whole lot. Jalapenos are just, I mean, they're just fantastic. Although, I will say that sometimes you get jalapenos that are really, really hot, and then there's the milder varieties of them. So, be careful. Sometimes you may end up getting a lot more heat than you're thinking about. I've had some of them that feel almost as hot as a, not quite as hot as a ghost pepper, but definitely a lot warmer than what you're used to. Now, I, for one, am a person who loves to have a lot of heat. And so we'll get these softened up real quick, and then we will be adding in our ground beef, and we will, of course, take the grease out of that. And usually I like to wait to add the garlic till later. So unless you're doing like fermented black bean stir fry, you don't really want to brown the brown the garlic too much. But that's just me. The fragrance coming off of this is just divine. Oh yeah. getting all of this grease out of here. So that way we don't have greasy chili. You can see how much is in there. Now make sure you don't put this down your drain, because this will build up over time and clog your stuff up. So you can see that's really nice in there. And let's see how our paste is. Now this is going to be really thick. There we go. See how that is? That is our chili paste. And we put this in a jar and save it. You can use this for stir fry. You can use it, of course, for more chili. You can do different varieties of this. What you can do with this is you can add more garlic to it. You can add, if you want to have the seeds in there, you can have it spicier. You can do some other dried peppers to go with it to give it even more flavor to it. But you see how that is a great paste, and that's going to give us our taste in there. Now, if you haven't used it before, take your time with that. We're also going to, excuse me, taking my breath away. We're also going to go ahead, just a little bit more. That grease we get. Yeah, there we go, got that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up some tomatoes. We're going to get this hot. We're going to add some olive oil to that, and we're going to go ahead and brown the meat. And we're going to use the tomato juice for my mom to get that together. And got a couple of cans of stewed tomatoes that we're going to put in here to give us our liquid. We're going to use some Rotel. And we can go and get those put in here now. Start getting it saucy. We're going to put black beans in with it. That Rotel in there. Now I like to use my mom's tomatoes. Using them with almost an eyedropper because my mom is 83 years old, and I may not be getting that much more of them from her. This past year, gardening was terrible. And you'll see you've got the full tomatoes in here. We'll kind of chop that up with it. And then we're going to add my mom's tomatoes in there as well. So I'll just take the spatula, just kind of work all this together. Boy, we're getting some big flakes of snow right now. You can see the color is beginning to start to take shape already. I'm going to put one more can of our tomatoes in there because we want this to be nice and soft. So we've got about 4 cans of black beans that we'll put in here as well. Oh, it's looking good. Alrighty, let's get this meat and stuff sauteed. Oh, almost, jeez, almost forgot. flour will help give us a sauce and just help thicken it up. Now this will pull all of those juices off the pan and make life a little bit easier for you to clean it up too. And you can see how that's thickening up. So this is going to be added to our chili here, and it's going to give it great flavor. And the rest of the tomatoes are going to go in here. And you can see how that's getting nice and saucy. And you're going to salt this to taste. And you can add more of the chili paste to it. But look at that. Doesn't that look good? You see the peppers, you see the onions in there, you see the tomatoes, you see that nice red color. And then we're just going to let this simmer, which will take this meat to a whole nother level. And I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to taste a piece of it. Look at this. Look at that. Ooh. Oh man. Tender. I'm going to put just a little bit more salt on it. Tender, and it's got a great taste to it. I'm going to add a little bit of chipotle chili powder to that. And I'm going to add just a little bit of cayenne. Just a teeny bit. This is like extremely hot. But there we go. I may actually need to let a little bit more liquid in here. But this will help thick. Oh my goodness, the smell of this is so good. This is going to help it really take it to another level. And you can see that beautiful coloring in there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's add this to it. Now here's the best part of all this. I want you to take a look. I'm not usually, I don't usually like to use non-stick pans. I actually like stainless steel. Look at that. Because we put that liquid in there, it pulled off all of that seasoning and stuff in there. It almost looks like gravy. Get this stirred up, and then we'll check it for taste. But look at that. Oh my goodness. And then we're going to add our black beans to this. And you see how thick this is, which is what we definitely want to have. That is an incredible looking chili. Now let's get a taste test of this and check our spices that we need. Look at that. Look at that. You see that? Ooh. Mm. The bite of that steak is incredible. The thing that's interesting about this is it like goes through and you taste a little bit of the chili taste to it. You can taste the garlic and some of the other Southwestern, the Chipotle chili powder, but it gets hotter as it sits in your mouth. And so this right here, I'm good. I am good. We're going to go ahead and probably add just a little bit more liquid to it because this is really thick. And I'm going to go ahead and add 4 cans of black beans to this. And I'll rinse those off because I just don't like the liquid that's on there. But then this will just simmer for a bit. And you got an incredible chili. And we have plenty more of the red seasoning that goes in here. So I'll put that in a jar and I put it in the fridge. And I may add a little bit more to this. But you can see that looks good. Take a look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at the chunks of meat in there. Look at the thickness in here. There's no tomato paste or anything like that in here. There's no tomato sauce. It's just the juice from the my mom's peppers. My mom's tomatoes. And a little bit of water and stuff in there. But this is all the flavors and stuff from the chili. You notice the really deep red color that's in there. And man, I'm going to tell you the meat, because it's that ribeye steak, it's got the flavor like you won't believe. And we've got black beans in there. There's actually 4 cans of black beans in there just to give you that extra fiber, so that way, not that having chili is a problem for pooping. What we're going to do, and my mama had a little taste test here. It does need to simmer a little bit more, but look at that. Oh, look at those chunks of meat and stuff in there. That sauce is like gravy. Look at that. All right, Miss Holmes. Let's see if we get the red brick approval here. Tender. Mm-hmm. It says tender. I don't know if she was talking about the chili or me.
Did I get all the meat in this one bowl?
No, there's a lot of meat in there. Hmm?
Steak is delicious.
She said the steak is delicious. How about, have you got anything other than the steak? Okay. She said the steak is delicious in there, and it really is.
Very tender.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a good cut of meat as opposed to just regular stew meat. If it was regular stew meat, you would need to cook this for about 4 hours for it to get tender like that. But because it is a really good cut, and again, if you're buying it when it's on sale like we did, it was the same price as a stew meat. So much better chili. So that's where you can save yourself money buying things that are on sale. So check out your local grocery stores. They'll send out a flyer. Everybody has something on sale to try and get you into the store, because they figure, well, you see those steaks at $8.99 a pound, you'll come in and get that, you're going to do all your grocery shopping. But you might have chicken breasts over at the other guy for $1.49 a pound. So if you go ahead and you end up going and just like make yourself like a schedule, like Monday go to one grocery store, another day go to a different one, and that way you're going to always be able to see the things that you need. And if at all possible, never buy when you need, be able to buy it when it's on sale. Is it good?
We'll need a bowl of this.
You need a bowl? And see, it's really good. Now, see, what I like to do is I actually like to put a little bit of cheddar cheese on it, some sour cream, a little extra hot sauce on it, and some raw onions.
Yes, please.
Okay, so she's saying that's exactly what she wants. Okay. So we'll show you exactly how that'll look. Oh, and that's our chili paste that we made from that bag of chili peppers. So we can put that in the fridge and we can have that. Now the big question is that too spicy for your parents?
It's got a nice little kick on it. I wish you could be sour cream. I'm still recording. I'm still recording.
I'm sure. All right, so we got our pot of, we're going to call this, you know what, we're going to call this the red Brick House Chili, because you see that distinctive deep red color that's in there, and that is from those ancho peppers that we use for our chili seasoning, and it's like almost like a burnt red. So we're going to get some of this, and look at the chunks of meat in here. This is like a hybrid. Look at how nice and thick that is. I like raw onions on there.
Huge.
A few raw onions. A little bit of cheese. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit more on top of that to kind of surround it so it'll start melting it a little bit. And then we'll put a dab of sour cream. Now, if you really want to take it up even further, I've actually got avocado. Put a couple of chunks of avocado in there too. Warmed up with the chili will be great. Let's see what the wife thinks. Oh, hot sauce. Gotta have some Texas Pete. Some Texas Pete to go on there. And on a snowy, cold day like today, you see that cheese? Oh, I wish she wasn't camera shy, because you can see the cheese literally just melting right off of there. Oh, it looks good. How is it?
It's delicious.
Red brick style?
Love it.
All right. So that is our pot of chili here. We're going to call this Red Brick House. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate you. Peace.